was operating in international waters when it was hit. Okay, that's the way we do a war. You play up. That's the way it is. Well, these armed with killer drugs, and they don't stop. And these vessels they call partially submerged. They're what these folks call submarines. They're not really submarines. They don't go down below the ocean because building one of those things that goes, anybody can build a submarine that goes down. Getting one built that comes back up is the chore, and that's a big challenge. So these vessels are loaded with dope. They submerge, but they keep what looks like a conning tower, basically, just above the water. So they've got uh, air coming in through that, through special ventilation system, and that way it doesn't completely submerge, and therefore they can do whatever they got to do. And it's hard to see on radar. Well, we got some very sophisticated radar devices, and we got some great eyes up there in the sky, and we're finding them. And when they don't want to stop for us, we kill them. If you're in war, you kill the enemy. And if we've declared war on them and they don't surrender, then we kill them and we blow their boats up. And they do pick up a lot of the dope is in flotation bags, and it does sit out there and float. The part that doesn't burn up, it will sit out there and float. So we pick up a lot of dope. And the Coast Guard and Navy ships out there they come ashore with a whole lot of product. Let's just put it that way.
It's amazing to watch those videos where those rockets come out of nowhere and just boom and blow up the ship. It's just like, wow.
Yeah. That's the Navy's assets. The Coast Guard generally uses 50 caliber machine guns and up close, relatively up close and personal when it gets to do that. But the drones and the naval warfare stuff is it's dangerous. It's dangerous to those folks.
Right.
Thursday's situation marks the first known instance of survivors since we went to war and actually began this campaign of lethal strikes against the drug boats. The drone-fired strike marked at least the sixth known incident in a quiet but intensifying U.S. military campaign targeting drug boats. I don't know whether you've seen any of the videos. They're out there. They're available, some of them. So if y'all can do some searching. Some of the stuff may or may not be real, so you need to just check it and take a look at it. Don't get all excited that all of the stuff that you see is absolutely real. We've got this fake intelligence out there generating crap. So that's the way it is.
I'm glad you said that. I don't know if you noticed yesterday on our page, I put a little clip on there about weather followers.
Uh-huh.
There has been a lot of hype lately on social media with so-called weather forecasters or so-called weather stations, which I think these are fake pages.
Could be.
Showing that in a couple weeks, they're showing a massive hurricane right off the North Carolina coast. And it's creating a lot of hype. And so I put a couple pictures on there showing what was being shown and more or less like, y'all quit clicking on this stuff. It's clickbait. They just want you to click on it to get little points or whatever.
They get money for it, people.
Yes, they do. And this whole hype, it's scaring people. Follow the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you need to go to. Yes, we have our favorite weather forecasters that we know are legit.
Well, they're going to be on the local scene. They're going to tell us what's happening down the street from us.
And then there's some national ones that I follow. But when it comes to hurricanes, I go to the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center. Don't get into all this hype. And even some of the local weathermen and some of the national that I follow,
they bite into it.
No, they're going like, they've been putting out pleads lately over the last month. Quit believing this. Quit watching this. They're making the good ones look bad, but it's just craziness. Some of the pictures I was seeing yesterday. I mean, 2 weeks out, we would know if there was a disturbance in the Atlantic.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh, My wife has returned. She took the dogs and she dumped the dogs. Dumped
They
two of
get
her,
shaved. Maybe you should have taken
two of our
Missy.
doggies. Gone to the groomers early in the morning.
She's
How
so
many of you
cute.
folks get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go get your hair cut? None.
She's a good dog, Mama.
So
Phew.
anyway,
I'll be
it's
like,
good to find a dog grooming place that will actually do things early in the morning.
oh yes,
So
yes.
that's always a pleasant surprise. And that way we get them back early and they can become reaccustomed to the neighborhood.
She looks like you
Hey.
ready to go take a nap?
That was a yes.
She's ready for a nap
That's
already. Yes, I don't blame her.
So I've decided we're going to do the same sandwich type. You want the same thing today in case I forget to ask you later to take with us to Winterville?
Sure. Is that where we're going?
Yeah, we're
That's
going to
where
Winterville.
we're going. We're going to Winterville tonight.
What time?
We'll leave at 4:15.
Okay.
Okay. There's some communications now. She will have to remember that I said it because it's recorded right here.
Go get your coffee and take a nap.
If you get coffee, you won't be taking a nap.
Robbie and I will be spending the weekend together.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Y'all got this. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord.
Oh, we got to get up early in the
You
morning.
want me to make y'all a big pot of hot chocolate tomorrow morning, too?
If you're going to be up, send it on.
I won't even be in bed yet, probably. It's a Friday night, remember?
Yeah.
I'll still
Well,
be posting pictures.
I will say that they do provide a huge breakfast for everyone.
Yeah, but how about riding around in that golf cart?
Well, we have all the candy bars and the chips
Hot chocolate?
and no hot chocolate.
That's what I'm talking about.
If you want to
Well,
provide
it's
hot
up to
chocolate.
y'all. You just don't want it. Don't just tell me.
No,
I won't
I'm
mess,
saying
I won't
send
mess
it.
with it. It's okay. Don't worry
No,
about it.
it's okay with me.
Out there in the hot Atlantic, one of them down there and way down deep off the coast of Africa, about halfway between Africa and the island chain that leads over into the Caribbean or Caribbean, depends upon who you are and where you are from. There's an X out there headed that way. It looks like it's going to stay pretty much due west this time. And if it does, it will move into the Caribbean. Don't know that it's going to become anything, but it's just a massive mess right now. And conditions in the Caribbean are adequate for the formation of something if it gets there. So we'll keep you up to speed on that over the next week or so.
Yes.
Way up north, this is a really weird one. This is a weird year, number one. But
Yes,
up north,
man.
coming out of Nova Scotia, leaving Nova Scotia and moving south, there's another X.
What?
Yes,
This has been a weird
coming
year.
out of Nova Scotia and going down south, there's an X, and it's going to be turning to its left, which will take it to the east. And there's an area there that is conducive for formation as well. But it's not expected to do anything, and it's certainly not expected to have any impact on land on this side of the pond. I don't know whether if it develops, it'll ever make it over to the other side of the Atlantic or not. But this is a weird year, folks. This is really weird. So, in other words, batten down the hatches. We got 14 inches of snow coming sometime.
Now, you just made Tom very happy because he just commented
He
on our
wants to know.
Facebook with the weather. Are they showing we're going to get a feet of snow this year? Because he loves picking on me about, hey, we're having a blizzard, or hey, snow's coming
Here's
your
what
way.
you need to do, folks, and I have not done it yet. Go back to the fall of 1989 and take a look and see what kind of tropical systems, see if it mirrors this year by any chance, or this year mirrors that one. I have not looked, but I've got my suspicions, because that was the year that beginning in December, and we had an early winter that year. In December, we ended up with 17 inches of snow in Wilmington.
Oh, I remember that.
Hello,
year.
and
Wow.
0 degrees at 6 a.m. at the National Weather Service in Wilmington at the airport. I was at the TV station and watched it come across the wires. That record stands today. 1989, 25 December, 0600 Eastern.
I was a station manager over in Northwoods for we had a small post office back there with carriers, and
And you couldn't get out.
no, I had a 4-wheel drive, but I learned a very valuable lesson.
They all don't drive in snow.
Because you have a 4-wheel drive, does not mean that people who don't know how to drive in the snow will not be on the roads.
They'll be out there.
I was a nervous wreck by the time I got done delivering express mail because I had to 4-wheel drive because of the crazy people on
And
the road.
those with 4-wheel drives do not necessarily know how to drive in the snow. They might know
Yes.
how to drive on the beach, or the mud, but the snow is a different animal.
I drive slow and
Mhm.
cautiously, but
And while we're at it, if you a strong suggestion right now, and I will do it myself too, because I'm going to go get a couple of cans of this de-icer that you can get it at the
mhm.
auto supply stores like AutoZone. You can get these cans, and it's great on your windshield when it's iced over in the mornings. Do not ever put cold or hot water
Nope.
on iced over windshield.
Yeah.
If you do, then you can call that auto glass company and get a new one put in, and it won't have ice on it.
Yes.
But in the meantime, you can't drive. So if you, I would do that and keep it in your car. Now, the other thing to do is make sure you have good windshield washer fluid, because if you just put water in there or some of that cheap stuff and keep filling it up, that freezes.
Yes, it
when
does.
you spray it on your windshield. Duh.
Yes, it does.
So get something with it's kind of like an antifreeze, but it doesn't freeze it.
You would be proud of me. I finally got new wipers yesterday
After they plug the hole in your tire.
after they plugged the hole in my tire. Yes. I said, oh, while I'm here, go ahead and put new wipers on.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking yesterday.
Was Robbie up there? Not my Robbie.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But they
This
were
is a Black's
so
Tire
busy.
Service, y'all.
Excellent. They're so nice. They're so
Mhm.
nice. But yes, I had a small nail, which you were able to find the nail. And they patched it, and then I had them put new wipers on. But when I got home, I got the windshield spray,
Fluid.
not the fluid, what you just said, the stuff that you
De-icer.
de-icer. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I have that in a spray bottle. I have a gallon,
Oh,
but I
okay.
also have a spray bottle that I keep full.
Good.
So I got that out, and I'll put that back in the vehicle, because in the mornings it's so easy. Just go spray it on your windshield. Boom.
And
Ice
it all
gone.
comes, just turn the windshield white. When you do, make sure it's all slushy or watery before you turn your windshield wiper on.
Right.
Otherwise, then you can go back over to Black's and get yourself a new set of blades. Because ice on your windshield will eat the blades off very quickly. The other thing is, as I learned in 1989, because it was really, really, really cold.
Right.
And trying to keep the ice off your windshield, even with a good defroster rolling just as hard as you can when it's down there in the teenage temperatures, and you're driving along the highway and the ice is coming down.
Mhm.
Trying to keep it off the windshield is a chore. It doesn't do it easily. Turning your windshield wiper blades on eats your wiper blades up. So me, remembering high school chemistry,
Right.
the very little that I remembered about high school chemistry, alcohol does not freeze, right?
Right.
So I stopped. I'd keep stopping at the little 7-Elevens and the other convenience stores, and I would buy little bottles of rubbing alcohol.
Yes.
Only place I could find things. And then I'd get out and I'd pour the rubbing alcohol on. All that ice would melt off. But I'll tell you something else about alcohol. You know, the stuff that they put in gasoline these days called alcohol. Let's see. I forgot what it is. Gasohol. And then now it's known as, remember that? It was called gasohol to begin with. That's gasoline and alcohol. Now it's called ethanol. Sounds better. But anyway, you pour that over your windshield, and then you turn your windshield wipers on. That's cool. All that stuff goes away. Alcohol eats rubber.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So does ethanol. It's got alcohol in it. Rubber hoses, for instance. I'm going off on a tyrant again, but anyway, so that's just be careful about doing things like that. Just get yourself some antifreeze type stuff if you want to spray it out there, or this de-icer like you've got.
The de-icer is perfect. I'm so
works
glad
great.
you put me onto that. For last couple years, I'll go out, I open up the truck door, and I get it out and I spray it on my windows. Start up the truck, and boom, my windows are clear.
Yep.
It beats out there having to scrape.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
a pain.
aggravating.
And you can't ever get it all off. And then your
And
windshield wiper blades, they go back and forth across patches of ice.
Right. And I will tell you real quick, because I know we have to do weather. I watched this one young man on on Facebook and
Mhm.
other places. His name is Cecil Griffin, and he does a lot of DIYs, really interesting stuff. But he said to take a can of just get a regular shaving cream, not the gel type, but the regular shaving cream that when you spray it, it's all foams up. He said take that and rub that on your windshield and rub it really good. And then once you get it rubbed in, go back and rub it dry. He said that will keep your windows from fogging up while you're driving.
On the
Inside and out. Inside and out.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm going to try this and I will give you a full report
Let me know that.
because it's aggravating for that to fog up.
I've never tried that in on windshields or anything. I do use for divers know this. Use toothpaste to clean your mask, your dive mask,
Yes.
because when you're exhaling hot air and
Right.
the water's cool, then you create fog,
Right.
and you can have a blackout with fog underwater, and then you have to keep washing the inside of your mask underwater and then blowing the water out. But we use toothpaste to clean it really well because that fog forms. And then there's some stuff you can use called spit. You spit into your mask, swish it around, rinse it out, and then your mask doesn't fog up. Or you can buy the stuff for the more delicate individuals out there, and you can put it in there.
Me.
You can put it in your mask
Right.
and use that. It's called a defogger.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's a whole lot more expensive for just a little bit of it because you don't need much than a can of shaving cream.
Well,
I'm gonna try that. Next time I go diving, I'm gonna try that.
I'm going to, when I go to the store this morning, stock up for the weekend dog food. I'm going to get a can of shaving cream and I will give you a full report
Okay.
on how it works.
All right. Better weather for those of us who love the ocean is coming on strong offshore out to 20 nautical miles today. The small craft advisory we've been dealing with this week will come to an end this afternoon. Yay. Northerly winds 15 to 20 knots this morning, gust of 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 this afternoon. Seas 4 to 6 feet, 10 seconds apart, 2 to 3 near shore. Sounds and rivers choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon. The waves will be coming down as the day wears on. Saturday, northerly winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming westerly in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 4 feet, 1 foot gentle rollers near shore. Sounds and rivers a light chop, diminishing to flat in the afternoon. Twiggy will be proud. Get out there and make up for lost time. Sunday, southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 4, building to 4 to 6 in the afternoon. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, increasing to choppy in the afternoon.
And today we're looking at a sunny sky with a high near 66.
She learns well.
Well, I'm not going to let you call me out again. Light north wind increasing 5 to 9 miles per hour in the morning. Winds could gust as high as 15. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 45. Saturday, sunny with a high near 74. And Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 78. So we'll be dressed for warmth tonight.
Checking with the our ham club members this morning, the Amateur Radio Club, Onslow Amateur Radio Club. They got a bunch of guys that get up nice and early on the weekdays.
And ladies.
And ladies. Yes, we do. Guys can be men or women,
just
by the
throwing
way.
it out
I know.
there.
I'm just telling you. Guys, to me, or either one.
I know. I understand.
Randy out there in Southwest, 39 degrees. He had the low temperature this morning, 87% humidity. He said it was very clear, and it was. I walked outside, I could see it was a beautiful, sliver of a moon and lots of stars. And he said no wind, it was calm. So, and nothing in the rain gauge, so no precipitation overnight. Joe and Lee are both out of the area. They got other commitments.
I miss
so
them.
they'll be back next week. Dale and Carol, that's a husband and wife ham radio
Yes.
team. They get to talk to each other when they're driving around.
Yes, I hear them quite often.
Riverbend area, that's where they live, 41 degrees, 99% humidity. The wind was about 1 mile per hour, and no rain, of course. Richlands, Craig, he was on his way to work, but before he left home, he checked. It was 41 degrees and nothing in the rain gauge. Ward, He had the hot spot. The tropical location this morning was in Cedar Point, 49 blistering degrees, 78% humidity, northwesterly winds. He gets to be very precise. He's one of those guys, 1.8 miles per hour.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ward. No rain. Ken, out in Oslo Bay, just off of Rocky Run Road. Did I get that right?
Rocky Death Road, yeah.
Rocky Death Road. He had 43 degrees, 89% humidity, no wind. It was very calm there, no rain. Lady Blue. From the Woodlands section of Northwoods, 42 degrees, 87% humidity, no wind. It was very calm. Nothing in the rain gauge. Here at the studio and country club, it was 41 degrees, 89% humidity, 2 mile per hour winds out of the southeast, and temperature is dropped down to 40. And no wind right now, 2 miles per hour at that time out of the southeast, and no rain. And Carol was also reporting in this morning as she said it was so clear. She was looking at the sky, and there was a satellite.
I heard her say that. That's what made me, when I went out, go up and look in the sky.
When I heard satellite, I said, wow, satellite. The aliens are coming. The aliens are coming.
SpaceX Starlink.
Today's the second day for registered voters in cities and towns here in North Carolina to cast their ballots for mayor or town councilmen, wherever you live. The Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce wrapped up its final candidates forum yesterday with the candidates in the Holly Ridge races. Now, it's up to you, the voters in these municipalities in Onslow County and for other counties as well. If you don't even know who's running, check the Board of Elections website for your county. All candidates will be listed there. You have time to learn about everyone seeking office. Yes, you could vote. Some did yesterday. Did you get a report on it?
I just checked it a few minutes ago.
We'll talk about it in a second.
Yet.
Nothing. Okay, no reports. That's right. It usually comes in about 8 o'clock or so. But you do have time to do a little bit of checking about these folks. There are not a ton of them, so it should be fairly easy for you to do. You can find something in the way of a platform of each candidate somewhere generally. For those seeking re-election, look for news stories about them. See how they've performed in the past. See if they've made any good news or bad news. See if they've done anything. While last-minute campaigning is important, knowing how these folks have performed during previous years on the town boards can be valuable. The actual election day is for November. You've got from now until then to decide who you would like to see in office, or you'd like to see who remains in office. Coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to give the citizens of Jacksonville a chance to ask questions of one council candidate here, Michael Yanero, retired police chief and public safety director, is making himself available here this morning for you. 910-333-0139. Write it down. I'll give it to you again in a minute. He's running for one of the at-large seats on council. That means every voter in the city of Jacksonville will find him on their ballots. We have a ward system in Jacksonville. There are 4 wards. There's a candidate or candidates running in each of the wards, each of the districts, right?
Right.
There are 2 at-large seats, but only both of them are up.
There's 3 people running for 2 seats.
Yes. They don't specify, who gets what or anything like that. It's just the top 2 will share the 2 seats. They will each get a seat. The third candidate won't be there. So that's the way it works. The wards, you will get on your ballot, you will get, if you live in Ward 1, you will get candidates who are running for Ward 1 seat, and you will get the 3 candidates who are running for the 2 at-large seats. Everybody gets a ward district seat, and everybody and in those they get also the 2 at-large seats. Got it? Done.
Now on your ballot, you've got the council member at large to choose from, choose 2, which is Cindy Edwards, Amity Holland, and Michael Yanero.
Yep, I can
got
choose 2 of those.
Ward 2, you're also voting on, which is Brad Brown, Fernando Scheffelbein, and Mickey Smith.
Yep. So we got 3 people running for that 1 seat, right?
Yes, okay. And I'm going to look up, because when I last looked at mine, I only had 1.
Well, that's all you need.
I
So
didn't have
I,
a ward.
I will, I haven't done my homework yet, to be honest with you on those. I've been looking at a lot, and primarily for the show here, looking at a lot of the other seats that
Yes.
are available because there's some stuff happening in different towns. We had Holly Ridge Mayor Pete Parnian in the studio a couple of weeks back. The Ridge is undergoing some growing pains.
Yes.
If you can say that, I think, without a doubt. And that's part of what is causing a bit of controversy in the town. A longtime resident and a business owner in Holly Ridge, Dorothy Royal, is running against Parnian. She will be joining us in the studio on Tuesday, is it?
Tuesday, yes.
To deal with us. Oh. Mayor Parnian was in here a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3
Yes,
weeks back.
yes.
And so we found out a little bit about him that I didn't know. I found him to be kind of interesting too. His how he got to the country
Yeah,
and
his
all that sort of good
background.
stuff.
He's from Iran.
yeah,
Yes.
and how
Iran.
he got here. We came here before the revolution, and then he was sharing some information about the revolution and his family. So
Right.
one of these days I want to get him. Win, lose, or draw, I'll like to get him in here to chat about that just a little bit. But Dorothy Royal, I've known her for a long time. She's she and her husband have he's also run for one of the council seats.
Yes.
They
Richard.
have a gun store that they've had, started it at Surf City, and it's still called Surf City Guns and Ammo, but they relocated to Holly Ridge quite a few years ago, catching a lot of the traffic coming out of Wilmington and Jacksonville. But interesting. They've always had an interesting gun store. It was nice and small, but they had more stuff in that gun store than I've even got in my house.
That's where I bought my last one, was there.
I bought a lot of guns there.
Yes.
Over the years, and a bunch of ammo. So anyway, she's in the running. They also have an arcade there. When I have not chosen to chunk an axe. It's one of those axe throwing arcade things, and they've also got other things in there. What I found interesting in there were the old antique machines that
Yes, the ping pong machines.
they had. The ping pong,
Yeah, the old timey machines. Pinball. Yeah. Okay. I was
like a pinball. Remember the song Pinball?
see. It's
Wizard?
so old. I don't remember. Yeah, but they got the old timey machines.
Um, So anyway, I found that interesting. So we'll find out. She's challenging Mayor Parnian. The mayor was selected. He was a member of council who actually was selected to fill an unexpired term of a person who resigned from council, and then that was filled, and then the mayor resigned, and then he was selected by his fellow council people to replace the mayor.
Right.
So he's serving in his second seat without ever having to go through an election. So this is his
Right.
first election process.
Yeah.
So that's an that's
Watching the
I don't think I've
candidate
ever seen that before.
watching the candidate forums this week, where they had some Monday, and then they had
Mhm.
was it Tuesday and Thursday? Yes. And some of the candidates, you could tell they're new at this.
Yep.
But I was kind of sitting there watching them, and some of them would say, well, if you don't vote for me, make sure, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, that's what you never say. You never say, if you don't vote for me.
You
You
say
say-
negative, huh?
Yeah, you say, I would love to have your vote, not if you don't vote for me. And I notice little
There's a
things like
cardinal.
that. Oh yeah,
That's a sign.
It's a sign.
That's a sign.
We're gonna win. Well, I'm not gonna say
It's a beautiful
that.
cardinal out there
Oh,
on the
yeah.
posts, fence posts.
Wow.
Okay. So yeah, here's the other thing, folks. It's up to us. There are a bunch of us who live inside municipalities.
Right.
One of the 5 here in Onslow County, and you folks outside Onslow County, you've got your own various elections. So you really need to do your homework. And do not vote. This is a small election. By comparison, this is a
Yes.
small election. Always is. Municipal elections are generally very small. Not a lot of people turn out. And shame on you.
Right. And
Shame on all of us who do not go take a time. We've got plenty of time. You've got a couple of weeks before the actual voting day of the 4th of November. But the polls are open. You
Yes,
can
they
go and
are.
you can vote early and be done with it. And if you don't know who's on the ballot, you go to your board of elections and look for voter search. Or you
Right.
could just Google voter search North Carolina
I,
and then put your name in there.
Mhm.
You may have to put your birth date in some of them, some searches. That will narrow it down. You like to pick which county you're in. That'll narrow it down, especially if your name happens to be John
Right.
Smith. Okay. Because there's going to be one or two or three of you who are voting. But look for yourself and then check where you vote,
What in
where
the
your
world?
voting place is, and who the candidates are. Now, you don't have that many candidates. You can take an hour out of your day and Google each and every one of them and find out something about them. Find the candidate or candidates that you like. Make a note. Then listen and pay attention to the voter forums, like we had this week. The Chamber of Commerce had them for every municipality in Onslow County,
All right, let me
and they're
just
posted.
give you some information.
Okay.
In 2021, the municipal race in 2021, all of Onslow County that have municipalities.
Five of us. Five of them.
Yes. All right. These are just those people that are voting. Well, in 2021, there was a possibility of 7,768 voters to vote that were qualified to vote
In
in
all
these.
of the county, all of the elections, all of the municipalities.
Yes. Yes. Of
That's
course,
all.
we've grown a lot since then. But look, only 1,436 came out to vote. So,
Are you sure that's not just Jacksonville?
no, this is all Onslow County. I'm looking at the state records right now.
I
Yes.
find that either appalling or hard to believe.
And you know who was the biggest vote getter out of all of them? A lot. I mean, I'm looking
My
like
dog.
right here, Holly Ridge Mayor. He got 194 votes.
No.
Yes.
I mean, we had municipal elections in Jacksonville and we got a big population.
No, let me tell you though, going down to, let me see, was this the year that Mayor Davis in Swansboro won with 393 votes? And then going on down, and we didn't have a mayor race in Jacksonville that year, but let me go and give you the figures for that because I was looking at this. So we had 1,436 people vote in 2021 when
In the
there was
city?
an eligible 7,800 in Onslow
The
County,
whole county?
the whole county of municipalities.
I find that really, somebody's got the wrong numbers there, right? Gotcha.
Nah, I think you just. All right, let's see, because everybody moved out to the county. Okay, in 2023, we had a total of eligible people to vote 42,740. And we had more municipalities that were open this year. And
Wait a minute now. In 2023,
three,
they had how many people were eligible to vote? And how many in
42,740.
2021?
It was
7,000?
78, but you have to remember, not all the municipalities had races that year. So the 78 that were eligible in 2021 were just like if Richlands had somebody, which I don't think they had anybody that year. I don't think there was anything open because municipal races aren't every single year, of course. But but in 2023, they had 42,740 people eligible to vote, and only 3,167 came out to vote.
Well, let's look at one precinct here in Onslow County, Northwoods.
Right.
Northwoods. How many eligible voters are in Northwoods? Like 3,500, right?
I would have to pull up different.
I'm going to guess it's
that
about
I can't-
3,500. New River should have about the same thing.
Let me see.
Each one of the precincts should have the same thing. Each one of the
Jacksonville 01 looks to be the biggest right here. Of course, because it's including
Camp
the
Lejeune.
base, right? Well, let me tell you what's interesting. If you go back and look, most of your people that were getting votes, just like the town of Holly Ridge, the biggest vote getter was Joshua Patty. He got 378 votes, all the way down to Nicholas Tripp, who got 83 votes. Now, if you go to the city of Jacksonville, that was a big year. Sammy Phillips got 1,205 votes, and the closest person to him, and the others were running for city council, were like 20 votes, 54 votes, 82 votes, which tells me people came out to vote for Sammy that year. And then for your city council member, Logan Sousa, he got 516 votes, where the closest one to him was Angelia Washington with 8 votes, and Juan Beltran. Of course, they were running different, that was great. That was all out of Ward 3.
And that's all it turned out. It's
Yes.
hardly worth having an election, folks. Why don't we just have let me select them for you? Because you're
Well-
not selecting, you're not doing it yourself, so you don't really count.
How many people do you think actually live in the city limits of Richlands?
I don't know.
In
You're
2023,
talking about voters.
yes, in
Oh.
the city. In 2023, 66 people came out to vote for McKinley Smith for mayor,
Is running unopposed. Right?
and he had 6 write-ins against him. But 66 people,
Uh,
because they didn't feel the need to come out. But you look at the Richlands alderman race. This one, Tom Brown, he had 61 votes. Marilyn Bunce, 61 votes, all the way down to a write-in for 1 vote. So, and of course, Surf City, that's a whole nother thing.
no, that's a
Yes,
split district. So
right.
split
Town of
between 2 counties.
Swansboro. Town of Swansboro. This was for the commissioners back in 2023, because the mayor wasn't up on the ballot that year.
Mhm.
The biggest vote getter was Bill Justice at 503 votes. Now, how many people do you imagine live in the city limits of Swansboro that were
Voters?
eligible to vote?
How many?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's no way I can, I would have to go to pull records from
But see,
the
people,
BOB.
we're not doing our jobs. If you don't vote, you're not doing your job. Even if there's no one, if there's no a contingent, and we do have it, there are people that you need to support them, or find somebody you can support. Or are you that satisfied that you just choose not to vote? You ain't got no reason to complain then. Never. If
See,
you don't vote, you have
Mhm.
zero reason to complain. That's the first question that I would ask every person that comes up before the county commission, or every person that comes up before the city council,
did you vote?
and they want to come up there and
Mhm.
raise Cain about this, that, or otherwise. I would
Right.
have the voter record in front of me and say, "Did you vote?"
Right.
I'll give you a chance to lie. Did you vote or not vote?
And you can look at a person's voter
Then you don't have a
history.
reason to be up here. You have no right to be up here and complain if you didn't vote.
Like, I can go in right now and pull up your name and tell you how you voted the last 5,
Not
6
for
years.
whom I voted, but tell me how. what-
Yeah, whether
Yep.
it was a tendency towards the Republican or the Democratic, even though you're unaffiliated,
Mhm.
which you have the right to make your choice.
That's right.
So, and to think about the municipal elections, they're not,
No primaries.
there are no primaries. There is no Republican, Democrat, unaffiliated on the ballot.
Mhm.
They're just names.
So therefore,
Right.
they're my kind of people.
Right. And Tom, yes, Jacksonville had a part in each election, 21 and 23. It didn't mean everyone in the city was running, because that's all staggered. But yeah, they were on there. But yeah, I'll tell you what.
The at-large run for 4-year terms. Is that right? Or 2-year terms?
Yes, 4.
You don't know.
I can't say.
Was
for
there
sure.
at-large in 2023?
Yes, there were some.
Then they run for 2-year terms
Well, it depends.
because there are only 2 at-large candidates.
It's true. I think we should do away with the ward system in Jacksonville. That's just my
It's
opinion.
outdated.
I think it's outdated, and I think that keeps good people from running.
It does. First of all, it's confusing.
Yes, it is. Because you take Ward 1, you take Jacksonville, 01, at the polling place there, which it covers all of the base.
Even in a presidential election year,
Right,
in Ward 1, you'll have maybe 150 votes
right.
total out of 2,500, 3,000 that are in Ward 1.
Well, let's
That's the
go
way
back.
it works. So, yeah, it's
Right.
time to do away with it, y'all.
In my opinion, I think you should everything should be at large, because you could have somebody that will come in and make a but that may not have been able to run before. They weren't in a ward that was open that year for running. The whole thing is crazy to
too
me.
convoluted.
Oh, and
And maybe it's done that way with malice aforethought.
there is a new map that has come out from the North Carolina legislature working on new
Oh,
maps.
Yeah.
I saw this map
It's
and I was like,
proposal, right?
it's a propose and it could change a dozen times before it actually
Likely
is,
will.
and there's going to be lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. But it moved. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right now, we would stay in the 3rd congressional district, which is
All of Onslow County would?
all of Onslow County. We're not split at all. There is one county on the list that is split just a little bit, and I can't. These things are so little. Let me see. Wait a minute. Maybe I can blow it up.
At one time,
Sampson.
New Hanover County, Onslow County, skipped over Pender County and included a little section of New Hanover County in the 3rd district.
Right.
And I'm like, why? How? What? And you know where it was? UNCW.
Wow. Yeah. They took that whole block out. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically that was about it, a block.
But where we used to be in NC3, there used to be like 15 counties in that. And then they chopped it down a couple years ago, and now they're taking us back down to 9. But we have such a large
How
voter
many counties
base.
do we have now in the 3rd district?
I think it's 11, 13. I tried to find the numbers last night, and everything wanted to talk about this new one. I'll research it this morning. But what's going to happen is a lot of the counties that were in the 3rd district are going to move over to the 1st district. The 1st district is going to be huge as far as the number of counties, number of voters, not so much.
Yeah, because they all have to have approximately the same number.
But I can see exactly why
people.
they're doing this.
It's not the number of voters in our district; it's the number of people living in our district.
Right.
That's how they decide how many. They're not all voters, and they all don't vote. I mean, we'll take Camp Lejeune in Onslow County. They don't vote here in Onslow County.
Personally, on a personal note, I like what I see. It could change a dozen times, so we'll see. But I'm surprised they came out with one so fast.
Are we going to lose some of our identity here?
It depends on how you mean.
I mean, do we keep a county GOP person?
Oh,
Chairman?
yes.
So your party still stays the same, right?
Your party still stays the same, but when it comes to the district level, now just for instance, the chairman of the 3rd congressional district, if this map was to go through, she will no longer be living in the 3rd district. She will be living in the 1st district, congressional district,
So she's
which
out.
they already have a chairman. So she would be out.
Unless somebody up there votes her in.
Unless they, at their next convention, there was a changeover in leadership. So,
Oh, good God.
yeah, that was a big thing.
You and your party people.
A couple years ago when they were going through all this
Y'all been
mess.
drinking way too much stuff from red Solo cups at your parties. You know that?
Hey,
Do you think the Democrats have blue Solo cups?
I don't know. And Tom just asked, do we have any word on the No Kings rally in the area? I know on Saturday the 18th, there's supposed to be No King rallies across the United States.
They don't
I
have
know-
any kings in the United States.
In North Carolina, I'm sure you can count in Charlotte and Raleigh. Tom, I don't know of anybody. Not heard of anything actually planned in North Carolina. I'm sure there will be, but as far as close to us, I've not heard anything.
Well, how did the Carolinas get their name Carolina? Who was it named after? King Charles somebody?
It was named, I once knew this, sir.
I know you did, but that's why I asked you. And did the person that the Carolinas are named after, did they ever do anything like, bad stuff? I'm just looking for a reason we could change our name. Since they want to change the name of like Fort Lee, Fort Jackson, Fort Bragg, they kept wanting to do things because these people were named after, these bases were named after somebody who they thought was bad. So did whoever the Carolinas were named after? Did that person ever do anything bad that we should be able to change our name?
It didn't say they were named. It says the name Carolina honors King Charles
That's what I
I
said.
of England, and the
King.
region has a rich history that includes early Spanish and French settlements.
King Charles of
Wow.
England. I wonder what he did that was really bad that we could use that as an excuse to change our name.
What do you want to name it? What do you want to change it to?
Brownville.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I knew that was coming. Why did I even ask?
Okay, I got one here that's going to make you think only in Jersey.
All right.
But
only
these
Joseph.
days, more meanness in towns all across these United States is happening. I want some help from those who deal with challenged people to help me. Some of these people are outright lunatics.
Mm.
These so-called challenged people. Some are lunatics. Others are just so stressed that they cannot control themselves, right?
Right.
And scary thing is that violence is not uncommon, whether the young or the old. In New Jersey, we go. A woman in a checkout line at a Marshall store could not stand waiting in that line because she said the woman in front of her was taking too long. The woman threatened to harm the other woman once they got outside the store. She threatened her. The victim and her family left the store and then took off for their car in the parking lot. The irate 25-year-old followed her and made good on her threat. Amber I. Thompson, bought a set of knives while she was in the store, took one out of the packaging, chased the victim down, and stabbed her several times. The victim was taken to a hospital with multiple but non-life-threatening injuries. Thompson was found hiding in the bathroom of the Marshall store with a bloody knife on top of the baby changing station. She's facing numerous charges, including aggravated assault and several weapons charges tossed in. The victim, she's going to be okay, though the case is still under investigation. So lame of an excuse, by the way. There's no word on the assailant. We don't know anything about Ms. Thompson.
I was just in Marshall's this week.
Not here. It was in another place,
I know,
New
but
Jersey.
still.
Anyone interested in knowing about her background?
I'll go right ahead.
I can't find anything on Angela Thompson except the arrest in this case. Can you? There are people that do not need to be out in public.
Mm-hmm.
A little stressed by standing in line and the person in front of you. This is as bad as road rage. And we know what happens in road rage cases. People die.
Yes, we do.
But this person here, this lady here, the victim in this case, who was taking too long in the line. How do you take too long in the line that they're checking you out? Is it your fault that they're taking a long time to check you out? Or is it you causing a holdup in the line? Maybe you have to look through your wallet to find your credit card. Does that make people so mad they go buy a set of knives and use one of them to stab you?
Good Lord.
What's wrong with
Do I
people?
see anybody in front of me in line that has a set of knives, I'm leaving. Well, you know what? Now, with all that chaos that was caused by this crazy woman, now, and she was complaining because it was taking too long.
Yeah.
How much additional time did it add to her time in the store after she had to show her tail?
Watching a show last night. Not a production, but a real honest to goodness law enforcement type situation.
Yes.
Tampa airport.
Mm.
The local police were called because a woman broke through the line, she had a ticket, headed for the airplane. Down the ramp she runs, gets aboard the planes, puts her butt in her first class seat.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously drunk
Oh my gosh.
and privileged in her mind. As she pointed out several times, she would not get off the plane. Captain did not want her on the plane. He would not take off with her aboard the plane.
Wow.
All of these other people waiting to go somewhere, and they could not take off. Well, the police there, apparently their policy is, or whatever, they cannot personally, individually go aboard the plane. They have to get a supervisor. So a sergeant and a lieutenant arrive. They go aboard the plane, and of course the body cameras are on. and they tell her that she has to leave. Airport personnel and airlines personnel are standing behind her to keep her from getting up, running further into the back of the plane. But the police tried to tell her nicely to get up. She has to leave the plane. Why? Because the pilot wants you off the plane, yada, yada, yada. Here are the reasons you've got to get off the plane. They don't have to give her any reasons. So the whole deal goes on and on and on for several minutes. And they finally said, ma'am, if you do not get up, we're going to have to evacuate the plane. And then we're going to have to physically remove you from this plane.
Wow.
Okay.
Come here, Lucy. Boy. Guard dog.
Yeah. Started evacuating the plane, had to get everybody off that airplane. And these people are not real happy people. They took the folks off the airplane, and then the supervisors, the officers, ranking officers, got her up and started walking her off the plane. And they got her in, and then she broke bad in the rampway with all these people standing along the ramp. Well, she goes into cuffs, and then she's still showing her backside. As all I saw was her leaving. And of course, she was, I forgot what the exact charge was. Drunk and disruptive is what it is here. But that's what the charge was. And she went away. And she did not want to ride in the police car. The last I saw, she was going into the jail, and she met a female deputy jailer.
Uh-oh.
And then things calm right down real fast. Female doesn't have problems laying hands on another female when they're showing their butt. Do they, Chief?
That's true. That's true.
For male cops, we're in, we suffer if you got to arrest a female because if they don't want to, they scream all sorts of stuff.
Karen, meet Bertha. She's going to take good care of you.
But anyway, that's she went to jail.
Well, there was one that just happened a couple of days ago. A 61-year-old woman who was arrested in Idaho this week after police said she assaulted 2 airline crew members who were trying to calm her down while she was showing erratic behavior on the flight.
She was drunk.
They had to divert the flight and land it. And of course, when the Boise police officers arrived there, she was already cuffed with zip ties. Yeah, but she caused a huge disturbance and even had crew members take out write statements on her. But she's charged with, and she's been banned from that airline forever.
I hope so. I've got a suggestion. I think it would work just fine. Always carry evacuation gear with you, a parachute, and then drop down to 10,000 feet, open the cargo door, and say, "Step out. You've now been evicted from this airplane and this airline forever. Here's a compass. Hope you can find your way home."
Oh, what would you do if you were on a flight, saying going across the states, and somebody got crazy?
I would hope there would be plenty of people on there to take care of business, but I also, Chief.
What would you
Chief
do,
Cadero,
Chief?
let's see. You fly, right?
Yeah, I do.
Do you fly with tie wraps in your carry-on stuff?
No, I don't.
You don't? I do.
Maybe we need to start. People need to start carrying tie.
I've done that for a long time. I
Right.
said,
The airline's got.
they do now.
Yeah, they do.
But I started doing that just a long time before they were carrying them because I said, I go over the ocean and there's a long ways between if this plane has to go down because of some disruptive passenger. I would rather that disruptive passenger finish the flight lying on the deck, secured to the bulkhead, to a seat.
I did an assessment up in New Jersey where they actually train pilots.
Yep.
To use pepper spray, to use tasers, and to carry firearms.
Yes, I know the tasers, and I know the firearm. A good friend of mine that I've been with too. He's been the same airline, but he kept changing names for years and years and years. Finally retired, and he was one of the first through the firearms class. He was a vet too.
My brother was a pilot for Delta, and of course he was in the Air Force, and he he flew armed every time he flew.
Yeah, well, that's what Larry did, and I've flown on airlines that he was happened to be the pilot on flights that he happened to be the pilot on. I didn't know he was going to be on that leg, and so we had chats. You get up, and go back, and chat with me.
And that school is quite intensive.
Yes, it is.
It's several weeks.
He told me about it.
Yeah, it's several weeks in New Jersey.
Rayford, I would
enjoy
be like, who's flying the plane?
The other pilot. There are two pilots up there.
Still.
They
No,
saw-
I think they both should stay up there.
well, he was within range.
Right.
And this was the days before they had to, this was before 9/11, so they didn't have the cockpit secured or anything in those days.
Watched one yesterday on Flight Radar in Michigan that actually, while I was watching it, crashed. It's a private plane. That was weird.
Private planes, if you will check, crash virtually
Yeah, every day.
one a day.
Mhm.
Some of them are just minor crashes at the airport where they hit a bump on the runway or something.
Yeah, but
you
just
know.
to be watching it track, and all of a sudden you see it starts spinning, and then the altitude, you watch the altitude
Not
drop
like
on
that. Not like that helicopter that spun out last week.
That was crazy.
Ugh.
I think the
You see that one?
trees.
I saw that one.
I know.
I think the trees helped cushion that one going
No,
down.
no. I don't like helicopters anymore.
I don't either. I had I was with someone many years ago. We had gone to Myrtle Beach, and he was like, "Let's take a helicopter tour." And I was like, "No." I was in tears because he really wanted me to go, and I was like, "Nope, not doing it. Not doing it. I'm
My
not getting in a
brother-in-law, of
helicopter."
course, retired as a chopper pilot, right? Helicopter
Yes.
pilot. But he said the difference between my helicopter and those helicopters that you ride on,
Mhm.
I got more than one engine.
Well,
I
I just
was a flight medic 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
With the Virginia State Police.
I don't know.
And the helicopter that crashed in Charlottesville,
Hmm.
I'd flown many a mission in that helicopter.
wow.
Until I had to take the medical flight from here 3 years ago up to Newbern, I said I could have been there in 20 minutes. I could drive, move, but they forced me. And the last flight that I had been on a helicopter was in 2008, and I'd been flying a lot, shooting photos.
Mm-hmm.
And that pilot, and there are pictures of me that my wife took getting aboard the helicopter, a little two-seater, to go up, take pictures of the state ports in Wilmington, land. We did. That was Saturday. On Tuesday, on my way to Florida, that helicopter went down. That helicopter, that pilot in Wilmington, crashed and burned, and he was killed. I said, done. No more. Yeah. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Well, when I was a medic on the helicopters, we would land on streets, we would land in fields, and it can be quite challenging, especially the interstate when we land on the interstates.
A lot of cars running as fast as your helicopter could fly, weren't they?
Yeah, it could be challenging.
All right. Mike Anero, he retired police officer, retired police chief, retired public safety director, public safety 98% of his life about, whatever the percentage is.
Probably that.
Pretty close to it. Yeah.
50 years
50
as a first
years.
responder.
Phew. And when you're only 52 years old, that's a lot of time out there.
I'd like to be 52 years
Yeah,
old
that's a
again.
lot. The doing what you were doing before you had a driver's license, right?
Right.
It's always interesting to hear people talk about that.
But it was a different time then.
that. Yeah.
The impact that had on especially young, impressionable kids, 15, 16 years old. And back then, they would allow you to start EMT classes and paramedic classes at age 15.
Yeah. What was the youngest person in BLET that you ever had?
I think at that time you could, when I started, you could do 18 years. Of course, you didn't have to be
You
certified.
would not be certified.
Yeah,
Correctly.
well, you didn't have to be certified to be a police officer.
Oh, those days, yes, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, and so at 18, you could go to basic law enforcement training and be a certified officer. And since raised the age. In North Carolina, I think it's you can start in 20 as long as you're 21 after the.
Well, by the time you get ready. Yeah, the first one I went through in 1970 was a department certification, there was no state certification in North Carolina at the time. And we had MPs who were, I mean, a couple of guys in the class they took it as MPs, and they'd been in combat in Vietnam, but they weren't 21. They were 19 or 20. How would you not allow somebody like that in a BLET class?
We fought with the state for 2 or 3 years to get the reciprocal agreement. It was a real challenge, but we finally got it through where that military police officers can transition without having to go through all of BLET.
Just for the local stuff.
Yeah. Well, literally here, they're doing the same job on the base
Right.
that we're doing in town. Why wouldn't we give them credit for that? Why wouldn't we give them credit for their experience and their knowledge? It just makes a lot of sense.
We had MPs walking with us when we were doing walking patrol way back when. And these guys were, they were not always 21, of course, and they're carrying a 45 automatic as we walk in the streets. They were there. Yeah. Why would you not?
Well, we were the first agency in North Carolina
Oh, really?
to have an officer go through that transition course.
Wonderful. Good.
And
we've done a lot of first here, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean that was something that we went to the legislature. We worked with Harry Brown at the time, and George Cleveland and Phil Shepard in order to get that. They actually had to pass legislation because the training and standards didn't believe that constitutional law is constitutional law is constitutional law. If you take constitutional law,
Yes,
and everything else that, and a lot of the military police officers went to the same schools that civilian police officers did, like IPTM down in Florida, and the FBI Academy, and they as part of their military. And then when they retired, it seemed stupid for them to go all the way back through that same kind of training. But for some reason, our training and standards, they were very resistant to that. Just like they were resistant to folks from other states.
I was going to say, because you had to go through, how much BLAT did you have to go through when you came to North Carolina after all that you had already had?
I did 96 hours.
Good God.
Lord.
And one of the things that really I thought was ridiculous was, constitutional law. The federal constitutional law is federal constitutional law.
All 50
Now, North
states.
Carolina might be a little different than Tennessee was. Their constitutional law, but most constitutional law is based on the federal system, and it seemed ridiculous for me to do that. And one of the things that I had to do is sit through testifying in court.
Oh, wonderful! Isn't that special?
Yeah, I mean, and I had testified hundreds and hundreds of times.
Do we have a special court system in North Carolina that's unlike Tennessee?
Well, and when I first came here, of course that was a kind of a different era. Things have changed. I think the folks on the commission were concerned that people from other states would take North Carolina police chief jobs. But
really?
yeah, and that was the
That was the deterrent.
yeah.
Yeah.
And really, the way our retirement system is, it's the way it has been. We're trying, in my last couple of years, we were trying to change that. When somebody gets to their 30-year mark, whether it's that with, then it becomes very difficult for them not to retire. And then they move to another state. And what our goal was is to try to keep these folks here and, do a drop program. And we were very close the last session to get it passed. And I think this session it's going to pass so that, somebody can work beyond.
Right. They can retire but still work.
Yeah. And I think that'll keep some good.
Well, they do it in the school system.
They do. They do.
They do it in a lot of places, a lot of organizations, a lot of government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you come to the table. You didn't have enough. You didn't get fed up with the system, with the government, and now you're trying to jump back into it. You think you got something to offer our city council, the city of Jacksonville, all the citizens in Jacksonville?
Well, I spent time. We were talking about my experience with the state government, and I worked for a county government. I worked for 3 municipalities: Bristol, Virginia, Bristol, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. And so I bring a lot of, and for 30 years I sat through council meetings, some up till 3 o'clock in the morning. But so I learned a lot about planning. I learned a lot about water and wastewater, because you're there and you're hearing them do presentations. I learned a lot about taxation, and I went to the municipal officers course, and that was 1 week for an entire year at UNC, the UNC School of Government, and they covered every different thing. That helped me tremendously learn about other forms of other departments that the police and fire. I'd spent a number of years in, but that talked about finance. It talked about water and sewer. It talked about streets. It talked about everything that pertained to government.
So coming on to council, if I'm assuming without much doubt that you've got that. So you're going to go into council, but you don't have to start from square one like somebody off the street who's never been in city government, maybe never worked for a city government.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of nuances that that folks understand. And I think as police chief, I think one of the benefits that I had, or one of the qualities that I had, is listening to the community. We did the coffee with the cop. We did coffee with the chief. And, it always amazes me, as a police chief, you think, everything that's going on. Well, you really don't. And listening to people helps solve problems and make our community a better place.
The officers don't always tell the chief exactly what's going on out there, because I think I can only go back a long time, but I would think that it's today the same thing. We think it might be beneath him. He doesn't really need to know or want to know about this and this and this and this and this. But that's not really the case, is it?
That's true. That's true. We want to. When I was the police, we answered 139,000 calls.
You didn't go to every one of them.
No, but we wanted to hear how we can, and part of the when we had some shootings at a local nightclub up here on 17, and part of it was listening to the officers. The reason that I really focused on mental health was I was in the staff meeting and they were talking about all the issues they were having with mental health long before that became a law enforcement issue. and we started working on mental health, and then we were able to open the Dix Crisis Center. We were able to hire the crisis counselors. We were one of the first agencies in North Carolina to have that kind of to have a crisis counselor work for us to help us deal with a lot of those challenges, whether it was homelessness, addiction, and to me that was probably one of the best things we ever did, because people would call me and say, I'm having trouble with my son. I think he's on drugs. He's not, and a police officer is not as equipped as somebody who's a psychologist or has that social work background, and that enabled us to help. That enabled me when they asked me those things, to be able to refer them to her or him, and be able to give them the help that they needed.
I remember when Commissioner Knapp, when one of the first things he said when he was running, he grabbed that, he went around and started looking and found this building out there, wanted to know why it was vacant. And as soon as he started talking about it, I remember you saying, oh, heck yeah, this is one of the things we do need desperately.
Yeah.
And so you were more right up front.
And I think that was, part of the challenges that the officers were having. I remember them talking about taking folks, the only place they could take them was the emergency room.
Yeah. And now what?
Yeah.
Did you get to sit there with them for a long time?
But I think I bring bring that 50 years of experience.
Yeah, you got the law enforcement, you got the fire part down pat. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
You've learned, as you said, a lot about water and sewer and wastewater too. Wastewater is a big deal that people don't quite understand yet. I don't think they understand. We got underneath our streets all over this city. You'll see culverts in yards. You'll see culverts in the roads. You'll see stuff, all the rainwater, all that stuff accumulates and goes somewhere. And there's got to be a system to get it away from the streets and the houses and everything else. So that's a big deal.
It is.
It's a network that most folks don't know anything about.
Yeah. And that's as important as, government should only be doing what somebody can't do. And that's one of the things that the private sector really can't do because of the cost. And it's so important. Just like, they're working on the backup line to help move some of the wastewater to the land application site. When I first came here, we had a moratorium, and that moratorium kept us from growing. And as our community continues to grow, especially down Piney Green and out 17 toward New Bern, up toward Gum Branch. All those corridors. Sewer is going to be extremely important for business development.
Without it, I don't know what people would do. If there's not some kind of a management plan, like you said, it's way beyond the days we could go dig a hole and, put a septic tank in there, because we just don't have the space for it. And lots are so small these days, quarter-acre lots as opposed to 1 1/4 acre that we have out here. Quarter-acre lots is not a lot of room for a well and a septic tank.
And, the septic tanks are not as effective as sewer. There's a lot of challenges associated with septic systems.
Yeah, overflows, problems there. Now we do have problems with sewer from time to time.
Right.
We do have sewage spills, and one of the things that happens when you have one, it heads for the nearest body of water for some reason. It attracts it. Are we good to go in those areas?
I think so. We have a great public works director, and he's very knowledgeable in those things and very conscientious. So I think as far as and he's the city management has done a good job of I mean, for example, when they redid Piney Green, they put that sewer line down there.
Nice big one.
Yeah, and the reason they did that was to help with annexation, to help with, and it didn't cost them as much as it would if they had to put the line because they were developed. DOT was, so that partnership helped put in the infrastructure to make sure that the city can grow and be prosperous. And the same thing down 17 when they were working on 17. Putting those sewer lines allows for a tremendous amount of growth. And same with that northwest that's going through over near Williamsburg Plantation, and that will be a second way when you're talking about wastewater spills, being able to shut off one side and open the other in order to make sure that wastewater is getting there and it's not overflowing. So if we have a major spill, then it can be managed with minimal impact to the environment.
Yeah, in Onslow County, we have 5 municipalities.
That's true.
Some of those governments, if not all except Jacksonville, I'm not sure. Some of those governments, they've signed on to let Wausau take care of the water and sewer. It's a countywide operation.
Right.
And it was, I guess, originally set up to handle the unincorporated areas of Onslow County. I wasn't here when that was set up, so I don't know. But that's what I understand. And then some cities said, the smaller towns said, you know what, we'll let them do it. They can do the billing. We'll do whatever they got to do, or however it's all handled. I don't know. But Jacksonville maintained its independence, right?
Right.
But I think I heard that originally Jacksonville was going to be part of that conglomeration.
That was before my time.
Okay, well, mine too. So anyway, I don't know.
That was probably 30 some years ago.
Would it be advantageous, wise to let one company that does so much handle that, or is it good to have Jacksonville handling its own, continue to handle its own?
Well, I think water and sewer drive growth, and so part of that is that you as a taxpayer and Lee as a taxpayer, they want people to have fair share. When I was we did a study back, I don't know, it was back in 2015, and found out that 50% of our police and fire calls are folks that do not live within the corporate limits.
Right.
And, so a lot of people, especially on the fringe, are coming in and using the services. And then, they're paying sales tax, yes, but they're not necessarily paying property tax. And so the cost of those services, we don't want to burden them on. So having the independent system and being able to grow and have people come into the city to help share the cost, so that that you as a taxpayer are not paying the full burden of the police and fire that are serving folks that aren't in the corporate or aren't in the city limits.
Some communities, and I've got a couple of examples, they have a combined, I don't want to say law enforcement, some do. They have their own
Like
countywide.
Charlotte does.
Charlotte Mecklenburg Police. But some of them have other services that the county provides and the city provides, and that they have consolidated those two. Building inspections, for one, comes to mind. That seems to be like a logical conclusion, that a possibility.
I think that's important when you talk about how we can look at being more regional, and for example, looking at ladder trucks, they're extremely expensive.
Yes.
So how can
$1 million or more now, right?
Well, it's like $2 or $3 million getting $1 million for just a
regular
pumper.
truck. Yeah.
But one of the things that we ought to look at is, well, do we need one in Surf City? Do we need one in Topsail? Do we need one in Holly Ridge? Do we need one in Swansboro? Can we manage it and look more regionally and be able to share resources for the good of all of our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not all of Jacksonville and all of Onslow County.
You don't need to roll a ladder truck every time there's a fire. But if you got a hotel fire,
Yeah,
you need to roll a ladder truck.
that's true.
So, yeah. And
And I think the same thing goes for police. And before I left, Sheriff Thomas and I had talked about, well, you have this piece of equipment, we have this piece of equipment.
you guys have
Yeah,
worked that out.
yeah, and
That's good.
and so it's important for us to be able to share it, and not because obviously our goal is to make our citizens have a safer and better community. And if we're going to do that, then we've got to be able to partner with not only Onslow County but the other smaller municipalities as well.
In New Hanover, which is a very small county,
Mhm.
obviously, land wise, and the city of Wilmington takes up a big chunk of it by itself. They did years ago, decades ago, they started the police and the sheriff's department then, and then eventually some of the other municipalities signed on and provided personnel for what they called a city county vice unit. Drugs don't have boundaries. They don't have town limits or whatever. They're everywhere. And, I don't know any drug dealers that ever did business only in Jacksonville or in Wilmington or whatever. So they had guys that came from each of the departments, prorated the number of people in their whatever municipalities they serve. They might have one from Carolina Beach, one from Curie Beach, one from whatever, and they were all assigned to go out and work together.
And
They were dual sworn.
in 2005 we did that.
Did you?
Yeah, well, we did it with we started with DEA. And then we went with a couple off. We had one officer assigned to the DEA task force, which was the regional task force.
Sure.
Then we went to the FBI, their Safe Streets Task Force, their ICAT training, and then we have somebody with the ATF. And when I left, we had 3 officers. Well, we had more than that. We had 4 officers that were assigned to those regional task forces. So that, one with the ICAT, and they did that kind of part-time, but the other 3 were full-time with the FBI, ATF. And to me, that was very beneficial for us because, the federal system,
they got resources.
Well, and if you go to jail in the federal system,
You go to jail.
you go to jail. And it's not like, you get 5 years and you serve 5 months.
Right.
In the federal system, it's day for day. And so I think that was very beneficial for us to be able to address some of those violent crime problems. And I think that's probably why we were able to keep the gang activity to a minimum and the violence.
Which I find to be, folks out there who haven't been anywhere else, I find it to be remarkable. There are gangs here, but they are under control from everything that I have seen, compared to any other location that I've had to be sent over to work in. Gangs rule in a lot of places.
They do. And I mean, there's a lot of communities, and when I go do assessments, it's you're able to talk
Number
to
one
folks.
problem.
Yeah, you're able to talk to problem. And when we were talking at the forum about public safety, the thing that we really got to focus on is our children. The first 2,000 days is when when a child builds their character. And I mean, that's why I got involved with One Place and the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club. All those things is trying to be able to prevent those crimes from happening. And the way that we do that is effectively take care of our children.
Give them alternatives.
Right. And make sure that they're being nurtured right and mentored right, and those kinds of things make our community a safer place.
Anybody got any questions? It's your time. You're a citizen of Jacksonville, or you may be outside Jacksonville, but I'll tell you what happens in Jacksonville affects all of Onslow County.
It does.
Jacksonville has got a lot of people. It's the primary, it's the central place in Onslow County. It's got the most people, the most assets, and the most problems it could be. So if you have a question, now is your time to ask. 910-333-0139, 910-333-0139. Ring us up. We have retired Chief Mike Inero here, and he's running for city council, one of the 2 seats at large seats. So everybody who's a voter will have a ballot for Jacksonville that has his name on it, regardless of what ward you live in.
I do want to say something, Mike. You talk a lot about being very active with One Place. For those listening, would you explain to them what One Place is?
Well, the biggest thing that One Place, from my perspective, does is the Child Advocacy Center, and that of all the crimes that occur, especially those terrible crimes as far as child abuse and neglect, what One Place tries to do is give hope back to those kids. And we know that a child who is sexually assaulted or the victim of violent crime, if we give them the proper treatment, then we can move that needle and hopefully create a better life. And so I think that's extremely important when we talk about making our community a safer place, just like we were talking about, the prevention of crime. The other thing they do is the early childhood, and they just launched. I think I posted that on my campaign website. They just launched a task force because of the shortage of childcare in our community.
I saw that.
Yeah, and some of the federal funds have been, there's a lot of confusion about those federal funds, where they're going and how they're going to come to those centers. And when somebody's making $50,000-$60,000 a year and they have to pay $12,000 to $20,000 for childcare, how can they get into the workforce? And so I think that's going to be extremely important over the next couple of years as to how we do that. And in our community, my experience with working with the military for the last number of years is, that this is really our future. So we want to get these kids to make sure that their character develops the right way. Make sure that, because those are going to be the soldiers, the police officers, the firefighters, the EMTs, the doctors, the nurses of our future. And unless we're investing in them, and that's really the early child care. I talk a lot about place when I talk about One Place because of the Child Advocacy Center, because to me that's the most effective way to actually investigate a crime, because the healing process starts from the time that the child walks through the door. And really, that's how we ought to treat all victims. How do we heal them in a community? And this is probably the best model that I've ever seen.
I've been in discussions with the other groups and individuals in the past. If you've got a kid, once they get on the wrong road, that wrong path, then the first thing they're going to be encountering is going to be law enforcement. And then law enforcement will progress up to the time that they go to prison. And to keep that one person in prison per year, a couple of decades ago, was $40,000 to $50,000. That's what it costs taxpayers to house one prisoner. Turning them back loose on the streets became very quickly. That was not the answer, because all they did was return to whatever crime that they were doing. And then while they were out and they were doing crimes, it then impacted me and everybody else. But to correct them, their behavior, prison ain't going to do it. Prison is going to punish them and going to keep them out of my hair, right?
Well, you know,
Do it early. It's cheaper.
So I was a member of a national organization. It's called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids. So on
I
my
like that.
on my campaign website, they put a fact of the day in. So yesterday's fact of the day was that every dollar that we invest for child care and child development
Saves 1,000.
saves $3 in the
$3?
future.
Really?
So every dollar that we invest today, if we invested in childcare, if we invested in high quality childcare, that's if we invested in the Boys and Girls Club, if we invested in the YMCA, if we invested in one place, then that's $3 that we'll save in the future. And so, to me, obviously it's the right thing to do, but it's also the most cost-effective way that we can do it. So investing in our kids is the way that we're going to save money in the future, because it's just like you said, it costs probably now $40,000 to $50,000 to house somebody in jail. And instead of housing them in jail, they could be productive citizens. And so we're going to save thousands of dollars.
Businesses and all of the businesses out there, from restaurants to radio stations to TV stations to every business operates on something called ROI, return on the investment. They're not going to put more money into their business than they're going to get out of it. That's a stupid business practice. They lose. If they invest $1, they want to get $1 in some kind of profit back.
And
Same thing applies with kids.
yeah, it amazes me sometimes where our funds go, and that we're not having a vision for the future. And the vision of the future is the children that are in elementary school. And I mean, we do some good things here in our community.
We do.
We're going to open that the Boys and Girls Club and down on Liberty, and MENOC goes in and they're doing the mentorship of some of these challenged individuals. All those things are so beneficial because we don't want to put people in prison and just warehouse them and then let them back out, and
They're worse when they get out.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody coming out that was corrected.
And that was part of the work that we've been doing for the reentry program is, if we can get them out, if we can get them on the right track, we can get them a job, we can focus. And, part of that reentry council, they had a partnership with the House of Rayford.
The Turkey people.
Yeah.
I know them well.
And they were providing jobs for those folks, and that helps them reenter in society and hopefully become more productive in our community so that we can make it a better place.
Well, you need help from people. Council needs help from people, from the folks out there. I know that you've done a lot as police chief. You were involved with dealing with people. You didn't have a closed door policy. You didn't hide behind the closed doors. That was always nice to witness as well. But you were there for folks. You didn't pass it off to everybody else. That's one of the things that I noticed about you from day one, from beginning in 2011. So thank you for doing that. And I imagine that you will carry the same thing through on the city council. Does council need to have a mentoring program? Do we have any junior council people out there? We used to have junior police that worked traffic at the schools, but do we have junior councilmen?
Yeah, I mean, we have the
That would
youth
be
council.
cool.
We have
Yeah.
the youth council that that is very involved and does a lot of good things. And I always thought that was a good thing. And the other thing that we created in terms with Sturgeon City is we did a public safety academy, because one of the things that we were 10 or 12 years ago, we started to notice the number of applicants were starting to drop, and we started that partnership with Sturgeon City to try to get them interested in public safety. And we also started the Explorer program. So we'd had an Explorer program a long time ago, and then we started this one to get them interested. And one of the officers that we hired went through the Explorer program, and then she became a police officer. So to me, those are successes, and we need to that's the kind of mentorship we need to do. Show them what a life of public service is about, and get them involved. And I think that's important when we talk about our future.
Police Academy. I know the sheriff and the police department that you both offer these programs.
Right.
Have you seen what kind of benefits have you seen from those?
Well, I think it gives people an understanding. When we went through the whole defund the police, I met with one community group that was, that did the protest, and one of the things I told them is they need to attend the Citizens Police Academy, because to know me is to love me, right?
Yeah.
And to some extent that's true. Is if you don't know who I am, and I'm talking about being a police officer, then you don't understand what an officer has to go through. And that Citizen Police Academy gives them a taste of it, whether you go through the Sheriff's Academy or whether you go through the cities, which is both police and fire. It makes them understand the importance of the job they're doing and why they need so much support.
How do you deal with officers? And because they are a unique group of individuals, and but they carry their work home with them sometimes.
Right.
They're not. I had a chat this week with a former sheriff. Okay. And he said, my wife still tells me every time we go anywhere, you're being a hawk again.
You can't get it out of you.
Okay. But how do you deal with these guys who just want to, when you go to a party, when they have a party, I mean, they're a select group of individuals because they don't trust anybody else, or what? People don't like to be around police officers who are not working. I have found over the years, if they know you're a cop, so, oh God, I can't have a drink, I can't talk, I can't do this, I can't do that. He might arrest me. Is there some kind of a mentality? There's a us and them type of situation. That what can be done to make it friendlier for the citizens to be with police officers, and for the police officers to get it out of their head that everybody out there is a bad guy?
Well, I'll go back to the experience when I used to walk a beat. Because people would get to know you when you walked a beat.
Walking the beat's the best way.
Yeah, and the businesses and just talking to people. I mean, that was one of the best jobs I ever had is walking a beat. And just talking to people and understanding their concerns and understanding the challenges that they face. And I think that's part of that whole thing. And walking a beat, when I started to become an administrator, made me look at policing very different. One of the things when I first started was that we used to rotate beats, and often thought, well, why do we rotate beats? And at that time, that was old school back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
And then what they said was, well, we don't want you to become corrupt. And so the idea is that if you became too close to the community, that you were subject to corruption, just like it was in the 30s and 40s. And but what it did is it took that personal that relationship away from police and the community, and that's the whole part of the community policing process, is how do we put that back into it. And I spent my career as a police administrator trying to put that back into, because I saw when I was a young patrol officer, I'd ask that question, and I remember those answers, and I also remember that when you build a relationship by walking a beat, that you're more effective as a police officer, you're more effective as a police department, you're more effective as a community.
Source development. If
I
nothing
want to
else.
ask a question. What do you believe are the core responsibilities for someone elected into the office of a city council member?
Well, I think the core responsibility should be that they listen. I mean, that's the most important part is how do we listen, and how do we make us more effective? And one of the things that a lot of folks in the community have been talking to me about is how do we improve the processes to open small businesses?
That's a big thing. Yes.
Yeah, but I also
And keep
think,
them open.
yeah, and I mean, one of the things that I would advocate for is creating a dashboard, and that dashboard to show, how many permits are rejected, how long it takes to get a permit, creating some checklists that somebody can go in and say, these are the things, because when we want to encourage small business, because 60% of our GDP is small businesses, and most communities, it's not big corporations that have most of the workforce. It's small businesses. And so if we're going to do that, one of the things that we have to do is first listen to them.
Right.
And, I walked a number of neighborhoods, and I heard a lot of things about high-paying jobs and how do we reduce taxes? Well, that's the way we do that. We've got to be more effective in the way that we that we're encouraging small businesses, and I think there's some definitely some opportunities to do that.
Well, I will tell you that once you become a council member, I'm coming to you with a complaint. Rayford, you're going to agree with me.
Why wait?
No. You go into these parking lots, like say the parking lot where PetSmart, Cato's, Target's at. And as you're leaving the parking lot, you come to a stop sign where you have to wait before you pull on the main road to pull out. And the bushes and the shrubbery and the trees they have planted right there at that stopping point just about pull out into the traffic to see around them.
One night we'll take my Jeep. I've got a tow
It's
strap.
everywhere.
We will hook it up. We'll hook it up to those bushes, and we will drag them out of there if you would like.
It's-
I'll meet you at the look.
All the newer type, buildings. To me, I'm like, who did this?
Yeah,
And signs on the corner. You can't see past them.
yeah. There are several places that the stop signs are blocked from trees that are growing over.
Yes.
I keep seeing those as well.
And those are public safety
They
issues,
are,
and they
yeah.
need to be addressed.
Yeah, and we're all responsible for not sitting there and taking a picture from our position in our car up the road.
And I don't mean to sound like a complainer, but
Yes,
just
you do.
recently I was out there in those parking lots, and you're like, you have to pull way out, and you're in the lane to pull out to see around the bushes, and I'm like, who did this?
Do we have a complaint
did this?
department in the city for things like that, or do we have to
Sure
be?
do. You
Here's
can-
I mean, one citation.
Yeah, the codes enforcement division. You can
Okay.
you can actually go online and you can
Point them out. Folks, you've all got a camera. Take a picture and send it to them from your sitting position and give them a location. Don't go about it.
No,
It's
I don't mean
information.
to be
Yeah,
negative, but I just noticed that. It's just irritating.
But that's the important part of, because, I might not drive the same road and I might not see that. And being able to tell us, hey, this is an issue.
Western Boulevard.
I mean, that's important.
Right.
It's important to say, yeah, this is an issue. I see this issue, because that's what a responsive government does, is make sure that those kinds of things are being addressed. The citizens' needs are being addressed.
There, one of the things that, and talking with you, which I've intentionally done with malice aforethought this morning, is to talk with you about what your life that you've lived, law enforcement, first responder, but how you have gone way beyond the duties of being a cop or being a firefighter or EMT, how you've gone beyond and you reach all elements of society, not just the people that you come in contact with at a wreck or at a fire or people that you got to put in jail. It's the other issues that you seem to be well versed in. So what I was doing was intentional.
Well, I mean,
and
it's an education to sit through.
And you're
through
well,
workshops
you're well rounded. You're not just isolated in one direction and that's it.
Something really neat I learned about you just going through your website this morning, which I've been through it a dozen times, was something that just popped up at me I didn't see before. It said your first job was a park ranger for 4 years while going to college.
Yeah.
A park ranger.
You were a rabbit sheriff?
Yeah. Well,
Rabbit
when people
That's
ask
what I used to call the wildlife officers, but it's some fun. That's,
when people used to ask me about being a law enforcement, I would intentionally leave that off, because to me, of course,
that's a fun job.
Yeah, it was a lot of
pictures.
fun. But
I want pictures.
But the thing about it is, I probably did more maintenance work.
I'm sure you did.
Because the park ranger did everything.
Did you ever Smokey the Bear hat?
Yeah, I did.
We want pictures, don't we, Rayford?
I got to talk to your wife. I'm sure she got some somewhere, right?
I am sure she has some somewhere.
There you go. Well, that's a great thing, and I've got some good friends who are game wardens, wildlife officers, marine fisheries officers, and those are great people.
Well, I was a city park ranger, because the Bristol, Virginia had a city park that was quite large, and so we used to patrol, but we also used to do quite a bit of maintenance and quite a bit of
cool.
Cleaning the toilets, whatever.
What?
Cleaning up. When people left, because we were there.
Trash.
If they left trash, from the picnic shelters, or they damaged trails by throwing trash out or whatever, then that was our responsibility to make sure the park was in pristine condition.
Well, for those that are listening, I've put all his information, as much as I can load, on our Facebook and YouTube page. You can go to MikeYanero.com and review his qualifications, his history, his beliefs, what he'd like to see done. And you can also volunteer to work as a pool greeter for him. There's a link there that you can click on. I just went in there and put some stuff in there. Of course, I'm going to be in and out helping him anyway. But you'll learn a lot about him, like all his special awards that he's won over the years. Here you go, Rayford. Look, FBI Director's Community Policing Award. Attorney General's
thing about what is it? Community policing.
Yes.
Community involvement.
Attorney General's Dogwood Award. R. Davenport Award for Addressing Domestic Violence.
How important is that? We deal with it
Yes.
constantly.
The Kalia Egon Bittner Award. I hope I pronounced that right. The Order of the Longleaf Pine.
No, that's
I know
a
about
special
that one. the 2012 Jacksonville Onslow Man of the Year, the North
remember
Carolina Chiefs of Police Association Lifetime Achievement Award,
And a dancing star.
the Rotary Paul Harris Fellow,
Oh, I know about that one. My
Yes.
dad got that.
and of course, a
Possibly.
Dancing Star of Onslow.
Yeah, it was. The first year.
The first
Yes,
year, yeah.
the first
I found a
year.
picture of us the other day.
Yes.
Oh, did you?
I did somewhere. Oh,
I
Lord.
tried to put that out of my
So
memory,
did I. And it
especially the white
keeps popping
suit.
up. Well,
The white
you want
suit.
to trade? I'll take your white suit for my Bollywood outfit.
Did you have to wear the white hat to go with the white suit?
No, I had the gold chain and the
Yeah.
white, I was trying to mimic John Travolta, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Past president of the North Carolina Association of Chiefs of Police
Mhm.
and currently serve on the North Carolina Governor's Crime Commission. You're still doing that.
Yeah, and I've been on the crime commission for about 10 years, and that's been
Wow.
a real education about
Imagine.
statewide issues that are related to to crime in North Carolina.
A lot of it drug related.
Yeah, a lot of it.
And
drug
still
related.
very active on the YMCA board, which is good because we got a lot coming up with the
You know how to
YMCA.
swim too, don't you?
Yeah, and I, the exciting part about that is, the last year that I was public safety director, we had, I think, two folks from Jacksonville drowned, and they're going to be teaching.
One was
What-
my neighbor.
They're going to be teaching water safety to
Yes.
all second graders,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
a good partnership that
Yes.
the city and the county and the school
Yeah.
system have.
That's one of the things that Billy Sewell
Yes.
strongly suggested way back when.
And thank
So-
you, Billy. Yes.
Yeah. But that whole program is going to be good. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
It's exciting. If you go by there, you can see
Oh yeah.
they got the pool, or at least part of the pool, already formed up, and we're excited to see it come to fruition.
Okay, I want to give you guys a traffic alert today, and it involves people in the city, people outside the city, people all over the state of North Carolina. This the season. We heard about it last night. I've already experienced it. This is rutting season. What is that? That's when the male deer are affectionately looking for the female deer, and they're chasing them through the woods into the roads, and there are cars that are colliding with them. A couple of our ham radio club
Mhm.
members had close experiences. One hit one. And last Friday night, leaving your location, pulling out onto Gum Branch Road, from that road,
Yeah.
there were two deer standing right on the edge of the road. Two deer. Cars going, slow your butts down. Be careful. Deer, when they get excited, when they see lights, when they do whatever, they will jump right in front of you.
Yes.
I lost a good friend about 10 years ago who worked locally. He worked for the county, but he worked locally with me in another place. And a deer jumped, hit him, went through the windshield. He was killed. Left a widow and two children.
Yeah, it was a very endearing conversation last
It
night
was-
talking about
it
the
was.
deer.
The deer are out there, and they're. If you
That's-
think they're not in the city limits of Jacksonville, son, you're wrong. I
Right.
see them all the time lying beside the road.
I've seen them on my street.
Yeah.
Well, I go to a retiree, a lot of law enforcement officers retiree breakfast they have every Wednesday, and we'll talk about old stories, and one of them showed me a picture of right in the middle of Northwoods of
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 deer.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They're right over there on Doris Avenue, Doris Extension, they call it.
And I've seen them in my front yard.
Yes.
You know.
I've got pictures of them walking on my sidewalk out here. The camera captured one.
Right.
Yeah, my
Well,
wife used to hate because they
Mhm.
eat they
They're
have
azaleas.
flowers, and
They love azaleas. I will tell you that.
That's like I told you when y'all came to pick me up last Friday night. Been seeing deer run across the street right in front of my
They were
house.
right there on Gum
Foscue,
Branches. I pulled
yeah,
out
yeah.
of your street.
They're
That-
right there in that
they're-
section of woods that the county schools have bought
Yeah.
and yet to develop. So
The grass is green along the
They're hungry.
roads. That's where they like to eat, and they also like to chase female. That's it.
okay.
Mike, thank you for coming in again.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
all for having me.
I like to pick your brain and I like to find out what's going on. I think that city council, they're very subdued. We don't hear a lot from them.
Yay.
Okay. I guess there's not enough controversy to generate news, but it's not just controversy that we're looking for. We're looking for other things.
Right.
I prefer everything else but controversy, but that's just the nature of the beast from time to time. But it would be great to find out exactly what city council does on a routine basis. For all y'all, you need to find out. But then what else can we learn from it? And how can we, the people, help you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important
Yeah.
thing is, the communication between the citizens and the council.
Go out and meet a councilman or just a mayor. The way to do that, go to a council meeting. They're all there. You got a captive audience. Just go out and, if nothing else, just say, "Hey, I'm so and so. I live at such and such an address." You don't have to go to complain. You might not have any complaints, but you might not even know what you need to complain about until you go to the council meeting. You might have something to offer. Okay. And if you offer it to them and they take care of it, then that helps all of us.
And just a note, the council does televise their meetings.
Yep.
So you can watch it live or you can go back and watch it later.
I would go to the meeting. You get the feel for it. It's like, I don't watch football on TV. I go to the ball games. I'd rather see a high school game in person than to watch a Super Bowl on TV because I see the people around me. And we have some great characters around us when we go to the ball games.
Oh, we have a group. You don't want to be there.
Oh yeah, I do. She eggs them on.
You may see us on the news one night.
Oh no, I hope not.
No, they're a good group.
They are good.
They're a good
fun.
group. Good group of people.
And we see some elected officials there from time to time too. We see
I meant to
some of
tell
our
you, you
locals.
and I were on Channel 9 the other night. I'll tell you.
Again,
Yeah, we were on the news.
I didn't do it.
You could see you plainly.
My story is I did not do it.
Me,
That
I
was
was a
somebody else.
blur, so I thank the cameraman.
I
for
was not
that.
even there. I got witnesses.
You were there. You were on TV.
Chief here, I was with him. I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Don't be putting him in this.
Mike, thanks for coming in.
And thank
Well,
you
thanks
so
for having
much.
me.
And we'll be chatting with you again, no doubt. Early voting is in progress. It's been going on for 1 hour and 3 minutes today.
8 to 5 today.
And 8 to 5 is what is going to continue today. Do they have a Saturday? Have you checked it?
They do not show
Any
that
Saturdays?
they will be there tomorrow. It does
Okay.
not show.
Be back again on Monday in Onslow County. Now, for early
Mhm.
voting, the place to vote is for early voting and voting is at the Board of Elections on Georgetown Road.
That's right.
Look for the political signs. You can't miss it.
Can't miss
It's
it.
near the dog pound.
That's right.
How's that?
That's right.
You guys know where it is. But anyway, if you want to vote early, cool. If you don't want to vote early like me, you want to find out a little bit more about these people that you've never heard of, look them up. Google it. You Google everything else. Google them. There, I will guarantee you will find information.
Today's 8 to 5. Nothing open tomorrow. And then starting on Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And we'll just keep,
We'll keep you
reminding
updated.
everybody.
Yeah. So get out there. Last day. The last day is the 4th of November. Polls will be open from
6:30 to
6:30 to
7:30.
7:30. It's 13 hours. 6:30 to 7:30 on
Mhm.
the last
November
day.
4th,
It's a
yes.
Tuesday. So it's an election Tuesday. So
Party later.
if you don't do it now or before then, be sure you vote.
Yes, there's plenty
I
of
don't-
time to go to early voting.
If we have to
Plenty of
read
time.
that you did not vote and I see you up there complaining, we're
Excuse
going
me.
to call you out.
Well, we better see those numbers go up high this
What
time.
we're going to do is we're going to start looking at all the people that are complaining and I'm going to look them up and see, hey, you didn't even vote, did you?
You didn't vote. Hush.
You don't need
That's
to
right.
complain.
Quiet.
Go away. Kidding, but that's what
Anyway,
really should be.
yeah.
Actually,
And just a real quick question, because I know we've run out of time, but how did you enjoy your first day of visiting and working at the polls?
Oh, it's just fun. It's fun talking to people.
Yeah.
you ever done that before?
Yeah, I did that. It's been a long time ago when I was in high school.
Oh, okay. All
Very
right.
good. Very good.
Before you could vote
Yeah.
in those days. Wow.
Yes. It's a whole new experience, and municipal elections are extremely slow. But when you're out there working the polls for a big election, like a presidential election, to me, it is so much fun because you talk to so many people.
Well, I've got a plan to increase the numbers at the polls
Oh.
because next week I'm starting a controversial topic, a very controversial topic. It's going to involve everybody. So y'all better be paying attention.
Oh,
And then everybody's
Don't.
going to get up in arms. I want everybody up in arms.
don't take that as a threat.
Okay, we'll see
All
you
right.
soon.
Everyone have a great weekend.
Have a
we'll
great
see you at the ball
weekend.
game.
Live and local real talk where we're always awake, never woke, and don't ever want to be. See you. Bye. See you tonight, y'all. Cardinals and what's that city?
Winterville.
Yeah. Think about what that city is.
All right.
It's going to be 45 degrees.
Dress warm.
Bye.